you should be moving into this new week with, because I mean, just do what you gotta do to ensure that you are where you've got to be. Right, again, welcome. And of course, it's another segment for the workstation here on the Midday Extra show. It happens Mondays and Tuesdays every single week here at Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Your radio experience you can count on. And yes, of course, you know that from time to time I try to drag a person or two into the studio so that we can have these conversations and have it from a balanced standpoint. And today's topic, right, we're talking about both we're having a conversation centered around the public service and the private service, different systems of employment, and which one we think is most favorable for you or somebody else. I have Funsho John right here in the studio with me.
Good morning, Mata.
How are you doing today?
Thank you for dragging me to the studio.
Yes, drag system was rest, but welcome. Let's hear you.
So the topic today: private sector or public sector. Let me put it like that. I don't think there is one that is better, and I don't think there is one that is worse. So it's just based on individual preference and your goals and plan for your own life and futures. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just because both has its own advantages and disadvantages. So so it just depends on what you want for yourself, and this part of the country that we find ourselves is where you find yourself. Mostly you just have to grow inside where you find yourself, and you cannot see there because there's no much opportunity for you to be switching offices, switching jobs, because there's no enough of jobs. So you just have to stick at where you find yourself. And also other people also, their plans for futures and what they want for themselves.
Okay, but the thing is, we're going to be having this conversation not like generally, because this your comment now is very vague. I want an expansive conversation, because now, especially for the fact that they have added money to those people and private sector will not see. Do you understand? There are certain things that people in the private sector enjoy and people in the public sector do not enjoy. Now the thing about the private sector is the things you enjoy, they don't come in monetary forms. They don't always come in monetary forms. They don't always have monetary rewards as regards the private sector. But as regards your career growth, as regards, building up knowledge and capacity, I can guarantee you 100% that I'll give that to the private sector.
Yes, of course. And yes, of course, private sector have that one. And mostly because most organizations too, they don't have that capacity to employ multiple hands like public sector. Because sometimes now you go to some private public sector offices, you see one small tax being assigned to like 4 or 5 people. But in private sector, you now see a reverse case where 4 or 5 different tasks being assigned to one person. So it's stressful, but it's an opportunity for you to grow. Yeah. Because even if that knowledge might not be useful at that place, it's something that will improve you, improve your CV. That means when you are even leaving that particular place, you can now aspire for a bigger position, because now you now have a better knowledge of a new skills, a new knowledge. But also private sector also is a place that you meet more people. I mean public sector, it's a place that you meet more people. You now you have more opportunity of networking there, because let's say you work in a particular ministry that a kind of minister now come in. Every day you have opportunity to meet the minister.
You see, but the thing is,
okay, continue.
The thing is, if you say for the private sector, you will not be able to multitask. I'm not talking about your job now. Like, you cannot do more than one thing. Once you are
private or public?
Private. Once you are there, you are there. But the public sector allows you to do not just that job you're doing the public service. You can run other businesses because you would have more time. There's a specified time that public servants, once that time is done, 4 o'clock 4 o'clock will not even meet them on their seats. They go. But for private sector, you can close by 4 and you'll be leaving by 6, 7.
Yes, official time is different from
normal closing hour. So you see, that's one thing with the private sector. But do you think these things are responsible for the redundancy in operation for the public sector?
Okay, because yes, in like now, let's say in an organization, in a private firm like this, we have let's say micromanagement, because like it's the reporting stage is short. Like there's a close person that's looking for a result.
Public or private?
In a private sector,
yes,
there's a close person that is like just the staff and the CEO. Yes. The CEO like this now is looking for a result. So that means that's what keep everybody on their toes. But in public sector, there's a further person that's looking for a result.
It will pass
it passes through different stages of reporting before a conclusion is made. So I think that's one of the major causes of the redundancy that we are talking about. People, and there's no close monitoring. Yes, so there's no, the cycle is long. So people will just do something, and the repercussion may take like 6 months before you get your feedback, before you So it affects. So, and some people also prefer it because it allows them to be lazy. So you just come to work, just if you have chinchin to sell, you just sell.
Do you know the thing is, most of them come to work and they don't really know. Have you spoken to some of these people? They don't really know what even happens there.
Yes, I've met somebody, and we got to talk, and I will not mention. I'm trying to say the story without actually mentioning the name of the place. So what happened was I was with an organization that talks about a particular sector. So a sector now employs some group of people to manage I'm trying to manage a part of government responsibility. That
project.
Yes. So, but when I spoke with the person, I realized that the person don't even have the basic knowledge of managing that particular activity. So it now means that the person that will now go to the field without even having knowledge of what he wants to go and supervise. But you can never have that in a private sector, because everybody is looking for results. So they will never employ somebody that doesn't know what he's doing, except it's an intern, and they know it's an intern. You are coming here to learn and at least add your own, but they know
in private sector, even as an intern, you will work there.
Of course, now you have to work. So that's just one of the difference. And some people, they just, and also it's just an opportunity for them, because some of those employment might be connections that those people it's not basically by criteria that and that's also people just use connection and just get the gig job. And
yes.
So
now let's talk about the promotion aspect in public and private sectors. For the private sector, before you get promoted, I promise you have all that it takes to fill that position. That I know there are times when politics will be played, but in an instance where politics is played, somebody is put in a position, is promoted. If they detect, if they detect the smallest form of unproductivity, you will be swiped out of that. You'll be wiped out of that office immediately. And that's something I really admire about the private sector. When you know what you're doing, you know what your contribution is to the organization, you know how your decisions, both immediate and passively, affect your organization. So you would consider a lot before making it. But in the public sector, well, I'll leave that for you.
So I will not say much. Let me go back to what I said initially about result-oriented organization, because anybody that set up a business is looking for profit.
Of course.
Yes. But in private sector, in public sector might not be profit. It might just be like, let me say, PPRA like this. They are just a regulatory body. Some other public they are not a profit-oriented organization. They are just a regulatory body, managing body, a consulting body. So they might not So that's one thing about the promotion. So in public sector, most of the promotion are by ages, number of years you have spent
there
in the sector. So they just you are due for promotion,
and it's not by performance.
It's not basically by performance, but they at least some sectors still write exams and this thing and do recommendation, but not totally by performance or what you can offer. But in private sector, your promotion could be fast, can be slow, can be medium, depending on the size of the organization and your work ethics.
Yes.
So you can meet people you can enter a private sector, meet people there, and because of your public your work ethics, everybody this is
automatically
this guy is good, and
position.
Let him just take this responsibility, and if you are good with that responsibility, this guy is giving us result, let him go.
And this is something you will not see with the public sectors a lot. You would see somebody building capacity. The person is functional. I would say the person knows what he's doing, but you see there are people that will be fronting for what somebody else knows. So there's the big guy up there, there's the small guy doing all the dirty job, putting their head to the research, getting their hands really dirty. By dirty I don't mean doing the wrong thing, like actually getting their hands are busy doing the work, rolling up their sleeves, and then there's someone up there, the big guy, taking the credit for what that small guy labors to do every single time. And this is something I see happens with the public sector. If that can be arranged, we will not have, imagine someone of 50, 60 years. How many research can that person even do? 60. How many research can the person do? And that's why at the time when we saw that most of these directors were being retired, they say your time here is up, go. Because for some, they will never leave until maybe life happens to them, they pass on and all of that before they leave. So I think it's something that needs to be adjusted, especially in the private sector. Do you know that if the public sector adopts most of the operational systems or policies of the private sector, do you know that we are one step to building the economy of the country?
Yes, of course, you are very right about that one. And that's why most of the time they say governments cannot do business. And when we say government, sometimes we skip the fact that we say it in a way that
like it's a person.
It's like different people are coming to the country and they are called government. It's still us in different form. Because you see my uncle, you see my father, you see my brother, my sister that are in the public sector. But because of the work ethics is different, that's why it look as if government cannot do business. If government run its business with a more profit-oriented ideology, like the private sector, putting everybody on their toes, you don't just come here just to close. You come to deliver, to do something, to contribute to the growth of the department. Then I think we will have more functional government organization. That will be more revenue, because if they are focused on profit, there will be revenue. There's no organization that focus on profit and everybody being on their toes, that there won't be a difference. But if we just continue to work the way we work, everybody will just come. I'm not disputing the fact that a lot of people still put their best, almost like a lot of people in public sector, a lot of people still put their best.
It's just the system doesn't encourage.
It's just the system that is not designed to put everybody on their toes, to focus on results instead of number of years you have been in the department for promotion. Focus on results. Let it be a result-oriented organization. Then we have a better public sector.
All right, let's move forward. We'll open the phone lines and let's hear you. The public and the private sector, which do you prefer, and why do you prefer one of these sectors?
So I've not answered you. You have not asked me the question.
What's the you? Okay. It's true. You now, the public and the private, which do you prefer and why?
I find myself to be an hustler. So every day of my life, I would still prefer to be in the private sector, because in the private sector, you must deliver, you must produce result. So I still want my I still want, despite the fact that I might not be doing business right now, but I still want my brain to be conditioned to delivering, to giving results. So I want to be in the private sector where I have a close monitoring, somebody telling you that no, this thing is wrong, this thing is right, do this, adjust this and put this here and put there. So that it will so that when I have my own, my ideology will not change. I will just continue in that mode. So that's what I prefer.
Anyway, you see, for me, I would prefer the private also. You know why? Because the quality of people you see in the private sector, there's like a 60 to 70% depreciation when it gets to the public sector. You know, not because these people want to be redundant. Some of them actually like the fact that they are redundant. You know why? They don't have to do too much.
Yeah.
But I want a situation where when I go out today and I come back, I'm coming back with a new knowledge. And that's what the private sector offers you all the time. When you go out, you don't come back the same person. Not because something really, really happens to you physically. Something happens to your mind. Okay, take for instance, we come here every day. We listen to what people have to say. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how efficient you are, you cannot know everything about the history of a country. You cannot know everything. So when you listen to some people proffer certain solutions to the government and, you know, to a certain situation, it opens up your mind as well. So you are now willing to learn from other people. That's one. Number two, you understand other people's point of view and how they deal with issues. This is something I think you cannot get in the public sector. But for the fact that they enjoy public holidays, I love that fact.
And job security is something that a lot of people, that's why a lot of people just want to be there, because when you are there. So far you have entered like this, you have entered, and you know that if you are there 5 years, you be promoted to this level. Next 5 years you are here. Next, you know, you can plan your circle. You can because it's a system that everything has been designed.
Yes.
If you work for this number of years, you get to this level. If you have this particular certificate, you go to this level. That's why you see a lot of people just taking some educational break, go and get their masters, get their
and that's what the public offers.
Go get some of their results so that they can get to the next level. So you know what you need to get to the next level. You know that after 35 years you are retiring with your package. At least you know if you are in the house, you will still be getting
yes. And do you know, because of the sufficiency of manpower they have there, you know, it can allow you take certain leave. You can take study leave. So once you leave, right, you don't have to bother about who will fill up that position because they have enough manpower, you know, supply right there. But in the private sector, when you leave, your space is almost always vacant. You know, nobody can cover up that position, you know, except you have like you have assistants. Most private companies, what they do is they have how do you call it MD. They have is there deputy MD? Assistant, so they have assistant, but there's someone. That's how it is, but it's not permanent. It's temporary.
And again, also some organization cannot afford it. Like some private sector cannot afford you going for 1 year without adding value to the organization, and then you still being a salary burden to them. But a private organization can afford it. That's why you see a public can afford it, and you go, you study, come back. I've seen some of my, when I was in school, some of my lecturers, they have the opportunity. They travel out based on scholarship. Some is school that fund it, some is this thing. They just travel for some times, and their course is not, there is somebody to take that course still they come back. You understand? So that's one of the advantage of public sector, because they have that resources. It's government money, so they can afford for you to go 1 year, and because they know when you're coming back,
you'll be adding more value.
You're adding value to the organization.
And that's what the government does. Anyways, keep it coming through 090-7353-0044, or 090-8766-8888. You can send us a message on WhatsApp on 090-9705-4450. We're talking about both the public and the private sectors. Which one of these sectors would you love to work in, and why would you love to work in there? Don't worry, we're not judgments here. If you love the public because you not go to work every day, I share the same sentiments with you. But let's keep it coming through. Hi, good morning to you. Good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you. Good afternoon. Tell us your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Yes, this is your son, Titus Moses.
My son?
Yes.
Hey! Okay, let's hear you, Titus Moses.
Yes, I have a question first before I answer it.
Okay.
Yes, my question goes like this. You know that a small pikin cannot play with the fire.
Okay.
It should rather play with water.
Okay.
Yes, so for me to say that, for the private sector, you know that yes, definitely the person must know it, that you know that yes, we have paid money to see that yes, you will got a result, a good result. That you should know that tomorrow will be better for you. But public sector, even though you go, even though you do not go, definitely you know that yes, anyhow you do, you will get what you need. That is my comment for that.
All right. Thank you so much for letting us know this. All right. Hi. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mata.
You be blessing. Good afternoon to you.
Mata. Anything that matter for us is good, though. Well done, eh?
Thanh you.
Our first caller, I say, go make small pikin play with the fire, but it's good to play with water.
I don't even understand that.
Fire. That language now, small children they listen for ages. It's no good to play with fire. It's no good to play with water. Water kaki, fire kaki. This is bad. But the day how you play with them. I don't see water now wey just kill small children, so that one now no go area. You see, if I may work bank, I go work for private because they are keeping themselves busy always. If you say na public, hey, na to the last, you no go learn anything. Na that to la kwa. You carry your bag, you go back.
You don't like
but
to,
if na private,
you don't like to relax.
So the last for wetin see everything is not for the last. See, you need job. Your work now, are you not doing it? And you keeping us busy. But people dey there now private or public, they go relax. After all, if a month maybe they go pay me. And that kind of money you cannot take and do better. But this is private when you know say you work. Before you use that money, you go use that well. I will tell you. That is why private hospital they are getting more customer. Look at the general hospital now, no more to write about. But if na private, it's very good. If they won't give you holiday, they will give you holiday, you go relax well. But government forget no need to write about it. Forget, make them stay well. Make them start. That is why you go the hospital, they go direct you for private, go take that medicine there. Now for them you go see anything where you need. They get the material, they ready themselves. That's why they are calling me private. I like to work for private. I like to keep myself busy. I'm not a lazy person. If you go and learn work, you go and learn as for private, no learn as for public, and they tell you the truth. Public not to the last. You will not get anything, not to get money where you no work for.
Thank you for your contribution right there. But if you look at it, she made very valid points, especially see with hospitals, not just hospitals, private schools. Examine private schools, public schools.
Yes, like coming back to what I said initially, it's just the ethics that we find ourselves. Because I was checking something online. I'm not very sure of this one, but I heard in Finland there's no much of private schools. That's for in secondary and primary school. So with this with that kind of system, the rich doesn't have a choice than to make sure that the public school is good, because even their children is going there. But here now, almost everybody will take their children
to private school.
So it's just most of these things that we complain about is one person cannot come out. It's the system that can fix it. So if there's an ideology in private school that if there's a rule that no children should sit on the floor, You understand? So it's not the responsibility of the principal to make sure that no children is sitting on the floor. But when there's nothing like that, people with kids will be on the floor. So if you have a system that says no staff in a public sector should be idle. No, I'm just saying. So
you know something about some of these policies, they are good, but the system does not encourage it. How do you give one teacher? Have you gone to private schools?
Of course I've been.
One government school rather, one teacher will be taking about 5 to 6 to 7 classes and 7 different subjects.
Yes, it happens. It's that's what I'm saying. Like, because most teachers are even leaving the public sector
schools
to look at this area. Now, how many public schools do we have? So that's why a particular public school now will not be overpopulated and the like. So it's just a lot. It's just the system. I'm just saying that most of these things that we say, just the system that we find ourselves here. Yeah.
All right. Let's take this call. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay. Please do call us back. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Welcome. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Amaka calling from this place.
All right, please put off your radio set so that we can hear each other.
Alright, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I would prefer to work in a private section.
You work in a private sector?
No, yeah, in a private sector.
Okay, let's hear you.
Why? Because you have to give out your best.
Okay.
It will give you room for research.
For research, okay.
Yes. It will also give you room to improve and learn on your skill more. When you're in the public sector, everybody is relaxed. Even the one you know, you will forget it. Talking about school, all schools have resumed last month. But public school, they just resumed last week. Public school in Duse, they resumed last week. That's primary school, yes.
And other schools are 3 weeks now.
Other schools are going. But private schools, that cannot happen. So private is always the best because you have to give out your best. If not, you lose your job. I'm talking about lesson plan. In private school, you must submit your lesson plan before going to class. But when you go to government school, who is ready to even take your lesson notes? Who is ready to take your teaching aids? So that has to put in place. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that contribution right there. That's a very serious one. Who checks what right here? You know, in countries like what do they call it? Let me name a specific country. But there are certain countries that in a private sector now. Okay, how do I put it? Here, when you say you are a farmer in this part of the country, people just make fun of it and say, a farmer can't be a farmer. When you say you are a mechanic here, they think automatically that you are a poor person. But you see, there are countries where these things have become private businesses. It's like what people do. They even train people. They don't look, that's one thing I know about, they don't look down on any skill. They don't look down on any opportunity to maximize profit. They don't look down on it. But here, that's why it seems like we have everything, yet we have nothing. And you see, some people were calling for privatizing most of these agencies. If you privatize it, their goal is profit. It will forever be profit. So they have no other way. They must make profit. And so you see, once you transfer it from a public to a private ownership, you see it begins to flourish. Because they put structures in place and they employ people that aligns with the goal of the organization. Something that seemed almost dead in a public hand, you send it to a private hand, it just comes alive almost immediately. I can never understand why this disparity. But talking about disparities, let's talk about salary structures for both the private and the public sectors. Now, in a private sector, you can be receiving one salary till thy kingdom come.
Yeah, of course.
One, it does not shift.
Until you get promotion.
It does not move. You remain there forever and ever. But you see, for a public sector, from time to time, they do salary review.
And even when you are getting the employment, if you have opportunity to negotiate.
Oh, for public.
For private.
For private, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
for private organization, when you are talking about the employment,
yes,
you have opportunity to negotiate.
But
in public,
what it is,
the salary is designed before you.
You will just fall in place, fall in line.
You have been given this in your level, so by your level, you know your salary. You can't.
You can't.
So you know that's just it. You know your level by your. You know your salary by your level. But in private, you have opportunity to negotiate. And also based on the size of the organization and income of the organization, you can have a bigger salary. Like you see young guys, especially in the tech this environment. You see young guys earning so big salary. That's one of the reasons why even police profile a lot of these young guys, because you see 20 between you see a guy of 23, 24, 25 driving some kind of cars that you calculate the possible salary. You'll be like, no, to buy this car it takes you like 10, 15 years before they are using a public eye salary to calculate.
Yes,
but you see these guys earning so much that even their 2-3 month salary can afford
hard currency,
those kind of cars. So private sector allow you to negotiate your salary. Even when you are when responsibility increase, you can still negotiate your salaries. But in public,
what it is what it is
until you are promoted.
And I think the reason for this is because there's a high recognition for value in the private sector, much more than the public. Let's take this call and then we'll talk more on that. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, welcome. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from Area 11.
All right, Emmanuel, welcome. Let's hear you.
Okay, I heard your topic and I choose private than public. Because when we talk about students in private, they are more able, attendant, and really punctual. It keeps everything neat. They are always following the rules and regulations. But when we talk about government, they do whatever they like. So imagine a teacher that's having a topic today, she won't come throughout that month, the next month. And for that, when the salary will come, they'll still pay her. And the teachers will, and the pupils right there won't be able to get their studies. And if she does like that, when it's time for exams, no one has to blame the pupils because they were not taught very well. So I choose private because they keep on the rules and regulations.
Of course. Thank you so much for letting us in on that as well. Now, I was talking about high recognition of value. So for the private, they recognize value, and that's why you can negotiate your salary. But in the public, what you know is in your head. Nobody cares. Your level of input is limited to your rank in that organization.
Let me not put it that nobody cares. It's, of course, what you know is but you know, I guess why things are like that is that, you know, it's a public sector is a big sector. So you know, people cannot just be coming in and be negotiating salary. So instead of negotiating salary, negotiate your rank. So if you know the money they're paying you is too small, go and get your masters.
So to upgrade.
If you know that so that people will not just be coming and have disparity in pay. When you know you are teaching, you know grade this one, this is your salary, and you know what you can do to increase your
salary.
Because when you have a particular certificate, you have the tendency to apply for promotion. And you might get promoted. So that's just why their salary is fixed in public sector, and you don't have much negotiating power. and the salary is not, I don't think it's that big for some organization. And some organization, of course, it's very buoyant, but some they are small. And economy, even there are so many things that economic forces even affect. That we are talking about this thing now, and some people, even the palliative that the government is bringing up, it says for 6 months. That means after 6 months they are going back to their previous salary, and they don't really have opportunity for negotiation. Private sector might not be increasing their salary now, but as if you work in a private sector, you have more opportunity to negotiate your salary, and if it's not convenient for you, it's much easier to go out.
Yes,
it's more easier to get a new place. But in public sector, they don't just actually change department, they don't just change job, they don't just, but at least you know that you have job security no matter what is happening in the country.
Your job is your job
is secure, and your salary is secure, whether you come to work
or not,
or you did not come.
Do you know that the thing is brain freeze?
And also for women also, let me just why you think about what you for women also, I think they benefit more, especially in childbirth. They have more opportunity for holidays, different from private sector, because not that everybody wish the best for their staff,
of course,
but a lot of private sector cannot afford it
because they are goal oriented. So because anything that will stunt their growth,
they cannot afford it.
Yeah.
So they rather give a what they call it, women that just give birth, a short holiday, so that they can at least so that they can resume faster. And because there's nobody to replace them at that point. But in public sector, they have people who can stand in for those people, for them, so they have more opportunity for bigger holiday to take care of their family and come back and resume work later to continue where they stop from.
Do you know that I realized that once you leave a private system, you work in a private system and you leave and you're going in search of jobs, when someone notices the employer where you go to get an interview done, these days they now ask whether you worked in a private or a public sector, so that they'll be able to determine your level of productivity. And this is not a good thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Because how is it that
judge.
Yes, it's not a good thing on the image of the public servants as well. Because when we have come to a general conclusion that the productivity level for public servants is, on a scale of 1 to 10 is about 2 to 3.
Let's not put a point. Let's not put a mark to it.
No, I'm saying once we agree and say that is 2 to 3. Do you understand? It's a problem, because why do we have such a such wide discrepancies between both the public and the private sector, when all of it is supposed to be for the betterment or the growth of one sector or another? So you see, now what can we even do? What can we do as a people to ensure that these things just fall in place somehow?
It's just an ideology change. Everybody knows why the public sector is working, which is result oriented. So it's just that the public also can't switch to a result oriented organization, because even you were mentioning that when government business were being sold to private sector, the productivity change, and most of the time you realize that it's the same set of people that were that were there when it was with the government. It's still the same set of people that were there with the private sector. But now, because the reporting chain has now been cut, you are now reporting to a very close person. You now have a CEO that is watching. Not that you now report to this person report to this person,
and it takes months for it to be reverted.
Now, when from the people down to the manager, then to the CEO make decisions, come back immediately. Even some different decisions like 5 decisions can take place within a day. That send it back. Okay, let's use let's use first subsidy as an example. Federal government announced removal of first subsidy today. The next day, some bodies have come out with their price template. if the body was still with the government, it will take time before they come up with a price template, because it now need to go to year to year and even still get to the presidency
before it is approved.
Or maybe even Senate first, even before the presidency. It takes a longer time. But now, because they are now independent, they make their decision fast because they want to make profit. That's their own, because they need to pay people under them. Now it's not a free money again. It's not their own money that they now need to pay people under them. So now you must produce. If you're not giving us result, then please
pack your bag and go.
I did not see that.
So yes, maybe tomorrow we'll continue with this conversation and we'll talk about the dangers of both the public and the private, because these two dangers. Imagine a private setting where one person can decide your fate immediately.
Make the whole decision.
They say you are fired right now. You are fired.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes. So, but in the public, before they withdraw you from service, it will go through very long.
It's close to impossible.
So you see, that's the job security we're talking about. We'll talk about some of the dangers of these, both the public and the private sector. Thank you so much, Funsho, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your presence. All right, guys, thank you again for listening. The final hour of today is the Girlfriend Show. So sit back.